G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at basically how you can farm up some stones for Beast Gohan. Obviously Beast Gohan's been announced, a lot of players I'm sure are looking for stones. I tend to do these kind of reminder slash update kind of videos every now and then. But essentially, they'll be coming out around the 26th, the 28th. It's not really in concrete. I think the 28th is when we can expect them, just before the end of the current banner, which runs until the 1st. So obviously, barring from buying stones while they're on discount, which you're welcome to do if you have the funds, there are a couple ways you can get stones. So one of them that's coming out, just as a heads up, is this an exciting camping trip. Basically, it's like a Hercule login bonus, Ginyu Force login bonus. Every day you'll get a random allotment of stones between 1 to 7, and that'll be able to help you out a little bit. In terms of kind of the main focal points, we'll start with the ones that expire. So Ultimate Clash, a great way to pick up some stones. There's almost 30 stones here around about, and for players who haven't done it, I do have a guide for that, so I do suggest doing that content. Then another way to get stones, although not maybe as appreciated, is Pettan battle. It's a very passive way to earn not a lot of stones, but depending on how far you are in your collections, you could earn a couple stones here. Remember, completing each collection is 5 stones, so there's a lot of value in these. Plus you also get some stones from the missions. It's not a lot, but if you're not doing Pettan battle because of the fact that you don't like it, maybe now is the time to do a bit of Pettan battle, get your hands on some of those extra stones. As you can see, as you complete each collection, you should get 5 stones. It adds up. It all helps out if you're pushing for that multi. Anything that can get you over that limit is always going to be good. So that's kind of the 2 time limited events that are currently up. Obviously, then we can kind of look more into, I want to say, the passive events. So events like the Dokkan story, which is obviously revamped events. These are events you may have done previously as a veteran player, or that you've never done as a new player. These are great ways to get stones. Not only do the missions drop stones, but the actual stages themselves drop stones, and these are very easy stages, so there's no reason not to do them. There's plenty of stones in there, and the same kind of goes for events. In terms of events, all of these events, especially the hero extermination events, they have a lot of stones sitting in them. Highly suggest that you guys do these events. If you haven't done them, even just clearing them once on all difficulties for stones is going to be worth your time. You don't even have to go into the missions, although there are stones there. You can just clear these events one time on the highest difficulty and you'll collect a ton of stones. So if you haven't done events or you haven't done them in a while, please go and check these out. A special mention to these Super Strike missions. These ones are like 20 stones. If they have an easy A attached to them, I have a guide for every Super Strike currently up. You can do different ones each day. Try and focus on doing these if possible. They are very good. They also drop a great unit as well. Growth events won't give you a lot of stones. They're not a great source of stones. Obviously you get some for completing the Turtle School challenges, but generally speaking it's not something we focus on. Then the challenges and the Extreme Z battles we'll come back to just now, as those are obviously big stone areas, but it just depends on what you're actually trying to do there. And of course, just a heads up, please always look at your missions. For example, I am 2 support memory uses away from getting another 6 stones for completing the campaign missions. Try to make sure that you complete them as much as possible. Obviously there are missions tied to challenge events, etc., but those are more something you'll cover under challenge. And just remember that if you haven't done so, Dokkan Quest or Quest Dokkan Story is going to be the best way for you to get your hands on stones reliably, especially as a new player. Not only is it super easy, but it's also just a huge well of stones. The new stage 28 has also been added out, so if you're a returning player, go and do that. You'll get a couple stones, not lots, but about 24, which is always, appreciated. Then we come to Extreme Z battles. Now Extreme Z battles are obviously a great source of stones. Most of them will drop 1 stone per stage. LR ones drop 3 stones per stage, and each one individually is anywhere from 30 to 36 stones. And it's highly valuable. It's a great source of stones. I always say to people, even if you can't complete an Extreme Z battle, always try and take it as far as possible. Every stone counts and you'll eventually get there. Obviously, there is also a special mention to the Dokkan All-Stars raid. This is an Extreme Z battle, but it's an incredibly big one that goes up to stage 999. You get 1 stone every 5 stages, which is a lot. It's like 150 stones, 175 stones. Plus, if you clear stage 999, you get 77 stones as well, which is, pretty decent value, to be honest with you. I am slowly working my way through there. Obviously, I try to grind as much as possible. If you're on an iPhone, you're out of luck. You can't really auto grind. If you're on a Samsung, you can auto grind. There are some great videos out there. I do not have Samsung, so I can't make one for you, but there is great value here. Consider doing it. Especially if you are looking for some last residual stones. This is definitely one of the places I would suggest. Even if you've got 200 stages left, that's literally 117 stones with the end bonus reward. So beyond Extreme Z battles, we look at challenges. Now, one thing a lot of people overlook, especially players joining the game, is Dokkan Events. Dokkan Events, although not too difficult, drop 2 stones per Dokkan event. Especially now with the fact that you only have to run it once. If you run 5 Dokkan events, that's 10 stones. There you go. Congratulations, you found the secret to success. Obviously, as new players, you generally only do Dokkan events when you have the units to Dokkan Awaken. But in times of need, it's probably best that you go through the Dokkan events and you try and pull and source as many stones as possible. It is very helpful, and it is going to help you in kind of improving and kind of getting more stones over time. You also might find that you have units that awaken from these events. Obviously, don't expend too much stamina on them, but yeah. Prime battles, also just a cheap way to get stones. Don't finish the prime battles right now, especially if you're farming stones, but they each drop 3 stones just for doing the stages, and at a cost of 40 stamina for those 3. It's a pretty effective way. The next way I want to point out that a lot of players probably haven't done is the category missions for the various events. Starting with the Fighting Legend Goku, the category missions are relatively easy nowadays. I've been clearing some of them free to play in my other series on this channel called the Free to Play Challenge, and you can get 5 stones per mission. So if you even do 4 of them, 5 of them, that's half a multi. It's stones you would have never had before. The same goes for Infinite Dragon Ball History. You get quite a few stones per round of Infinite Dragon Ball History. There's quite a few now, but you also do have some category challenges there as well. So if you need help with those, that's also something that's obviously going to be something you can work on. Dokkan Boss Rush, obviously also a great source of stones, something a lot of players are going to want to do straight away. A lot of veterans do it straight away, but a lot of new players don't know about it, so it's a great source of stones as well. Extreme Z areas are also relatively decent for stones, especially the mass ones with 5 units, but I wouldn't suggest expending a lot of stamina on them. And then you kind of get into the hard content. We're talking ESBR, SBR, Cell Max, Red Zone. These type of things obviously can earn you stones, but they're not priority areas because, quite frankly, if you can do all those events and farm all those stones easily, it wouldn't really be much of a farming guide. And then finally, last but not least, Portal of Memories is a great way to access events that haven't come out in a while. There's quite a few special events, especially if you missed the Super Dragon Ball Heroes event. There's a lot of older special events that also haven't come back. So it's a great way to access these stones, try these events out, get your hands on a lot of stones from them. Again, you don't have to do them to complete them fully. You don't have to farm the units, you just need to get the stones. But yeah, that's basically it from me. Just a couple ways. A reminder as always, heads up on how to farm some stones at this time. But as always, cheers guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.